What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with another video, an unboxing video. Let's get back to the serious business of action figure collecting. That video earlier today with my conspiracy theories and my complaining about shill bidding and everything else put me in a terrible mood because I tend to think the best in people. And, you know, it's a shame when stuff like that happens. So, luckily, the mailman just arrived with a recent purchase. This was a buy it now situation, so I did not get shill bid upon with this one. But I bought this about a week ago after selling a few modern items, and I didn't get a particularly great deal on it, but it's a figure that I've been needing for my collection. I'm also going to pair it with a couple of other recent purchases because they're somewhat related, but let me go ahead and get this thing out. In the meantime, you can watch Grand Admiral Thrawn serve as therapist again to Luke and Darth Vader. So here we are. This is a Lili Ledy Klaatu, and it's just a beautiful figure. I saw this for sale for a while now, and I know I overpaid for it because there wasn't many people watching it, but the timing was right with my money, so I went ahead and bought it because it's what figure I needed, and it's a high-grade figure. And I love it, so it's really cool. Let's take a look at the grading label. 1983 Lili Ledy Star Wars Klaatu, and this is the flat fur painted belt variant. It's got the archival upgraded UV case, as you can see there, and it came back with an 85 plus. So it's a really beautiful figure. I mean, you know, I paid a lot for it, but it's you know, I think that to find one like this in this kind of condition is very, very difficult. But there are a number of variants for Klaatu Lili Ledys. So this is the flat fur painted belt variant. You know, this kind of leathery belt, you know, kind of faux leather fabric with the flat belt. This was the most common one on the Made in Mexico cards. So, you know, very similar to my squid head with the ribbed cape Lili Ledy. You know, this is a Made in Mexico figure. Very high grade though, and beautiful. There are a number of variants though. There's another variant with the thick fur that it almost looks like dreadlocks. If you're getting a true Lili Ledy off a Ledy card, it's very thick and it has kind of dreadlock looking stuff hanging down from the fur. And then the other variant relates to this trim portion here. That's this vinyl trim portion. There's another version of that it almost looks like a straw type of material. It's not, but it looks very. It's got kind of holes in it, and so you can mix and match between them. So you can have a thick fur with this kind of trim, or you can have a thin fur with this kind of trim, or you can have the same thick or thin fur with the other type of beltish kind of top here that is much more kind of straw-like. It's hard to explain unless you see one, but it's got holes in it. It's very meshy, I guess is the right word. It's got kind of a mesh look to it. But this is the most common variant, but it's just in absolutely perfect condition. And, you know, I love this figure. I've been wanting a Klaatu. I've got one fairly standard, I think a Hong Kong Klaatu in grading. There are a number of different ones. There's ones related to the type of limbs he's got. You can have, you know, mixed limbs. The face can either be painted or molded. You know, I want to say there's 5 or 6 different Klaatu variations out there, but just an awesome figure. Very glad to add it to my Ledy collection. And then I also got a couple of other Ledys here recently. This is probably the best of the bunch here. This is the TIE Fighter pilot. This was a pretty in an auction format, and I overpaid for this one. I am not going to lie on that. This is one that I've been looking forever. I've been looking forever for an 85 grade TIE Fighter pilot Lili Ledy, and I finally got one, but I paid a lot of money for it. But I was prepared to do it, you know. I missed one that sold at about half this price maybe 6 months or more a year ago. I missed it by like 5 minutes on Facebook. It was an 85 grade TIE pilot, and it sold for half of what I paid for this one. So, you know, I knew going into it was going to be an auction. There was like 47 watchers. I was going to have to overpay for this one. They had some beautiful other figures like a Lili Ledy Lando that sold for something ridiculous, like $1,200. But I put all my eggs in one basket, and I got this TIE Fighter palette, so I'm very happy to have him. But this one is an 85 grade. There's a Lili Ledy label there. And so here's the back of the figure. The only other graded loose tie palette I have is this one. And so we can kind of do a quick comparison here. This is the China variant. And so if you look at the hands on the Ledy, which is on your right, they're a little bit lighter. And, you know, I haven't gone into looking on the mold differences. I couldn't find much just looking with the bare naked eye, untrained. But the most notable thing was the color of the gloves. The gloves were much, not much, but a little bit lighter. And but this is the China variant. This is an 85 also. Another tough one to find, you know. And so there's a Hong Kong variant. There's a no COO variant that came on the Tri-Logo cards, among other cards, I'm sure. But these are my two loose TIE Fighter palettes. But I'm really happy to have that Lili Ledy, this Lili Ledy version here on your right. It's just one I've been looking forever for, and I finally did get it, even though I did have to overpay for it. So that was really cool. And then finally, my last one is a Chief Chirpa. I did not get this one on eBay, thank God. I paid a somewhat fair price for it. It's got the new casing style, but this is a Lili Ledy Chief Chirpa. It's also an 85. Very happy to have another Ewok done off the list. There are no variants that I'm aware of. Oh, I forgot to mention that. On the Lili Ledy TIE Pilot, there is one variant for this. For certain figures that are Lili Ledy, there is a factory error as it relates to the foot peg. Now, on this one, you can see that the foot pegs are normal. There is there's several figures in the Lili Ledy line that come with a filled one foot is always filled a filled peg hole. I don't know if they're recognized as a variant. I would assume they probably are. Certainly by UKG and CAS, they would note that on the grading label, but I'm not sure if AFA would. But anyway, there's a TIE Fighter palette that does have a filled peg hole on one foot. The other Lili Ledys that are known to come with that filled peg hole are the Stormtrooper, Boba Fett, Ben Kenobi, and this TIE Pilot, and there's one more that I'm missing. I can't remember off the top of my head. I think there's 5 altogether, but those are the 4 that I know of for sure. The TIE Pilot, Stormtrooper, Ben Kenobi, and Boba Fett. It might only be 4. I can't remember. But anyway, so that is a variant that you can look for. If you see a Lili Ledy loose for sale, you can look on their feet to see if it has the filled peg hole. It's a lot more rare than these. You know, it could be considered a factory error. I don't know, but it's only those 4 figures that they have been found for. So I would assume that's something that would show up on the label if you submitted one that was loose. But this is the normal TIE Pilot, and I paid way too much for it, but I got it now, so I'm going to move on with my life. But anyway, here's the Chief Chirpa. There's no variants for the Chief Chirpa Lili Ledy, and there's the grading label. It's an 85. The only other Chief Chirpa that I have, there's a Hong Kong, and then there's a no COO. And then there's also this one, a no COO with the white fur. So, and those are the only ones that I know of. I mean, I didn't do a ton of research before this video. I'm trying to wash the taste out of the last video of talking about scandals. So I didn't do a ton of research on it. But this is a no COO Chief Chirpa. And so here is the label on that one. The interesting thing is that when I looked online on some of the variant databases, they list the light fur Chief Chirpa as being a Hong Kong. So there may be a light fur Hong Kong also, but this is the no COO version of it, and it's clearly the white fur. If you look at the 2 of them together, it's a pretty noticeable difference in the color. So very cool. It looks like also that the hood is a lot lighter brown than the Lili Ledy. So, you know, lots of different color variations, but I thought it was kind of cool to see the 2 of these together because the fur color is such a pronounced difference. So that is really all I had. I've got one other massive purchase coming. I saved up some money to go after that Darth Vader POC that ended at auction yesterday. And then when all that crappy news came out about potential shill bidding, I said, to heck with it. I'm not even going to touch it. I don't want any part of it. I don't want to even have it in my collection if it's going to have a kind of a negative tone to it. And so I didn't go after that, but there was another really nice item that I'm going to show you. So that should be here on Wednesday. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you soon.